1,268 steps. One incredible cause. We're climbing Key Tower with the American Lung Association to prove that small steps really do add up. Join me for this one. Your lungs will thank you. Next on the Compounding Change podcast.
This is the Compounding Change podcast, sharing stories of small but meaningful changes that compound into amazing impact. Brought to you by Shannon Davis and DavisCompoundingChange.com. Change happens fast. Take advantage. Discussions on this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Retirement Plan Advisors LLC, a federally registered investment advisor. Cambridge Investment Research and Retirement Planning Advisors are not related to DavisCompoundingChange.com or this podcast. Now, here's your host, Shannon Davis.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Compounding Change, where we talk about the small steps that add up to a healthier, wealthier life. I'm Shannon Davis, and today we're climbing, literally. We're highlighting the Fight for Air climb here in Cleveland, 1,268 steps up Key Tower in support of lung health and clean air. My guest is Catherine Widemire, Development Manager with the American Lung Association. Catherine plays a key role in bringing this event and its mission to life. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me, Shannon.
Good to see you. So, jumping right in, for those who might not be familiar, can you tell us a little bit about the American Lung Association and your role there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am out of our Northeast Ohio office. So our market is anywhere from the lake down into Canton and beyond, and from Sandusky over to Youngstown. So we are here for everyone in Northeast Ohio for their lung health and clean air. And the Fight for Air climb is one of our signature events that brings the community together to feel what it feels like to have lung disease as you climb each step up Key Tower each year.
Well, I know I met you in networking, and of course, you know, that's how I got involved with ALA just recently.
Yeah.
And the climb was what attracted me. But how did you first get involved with the ALA, and what drew you to this mission?
Oh, so that's a great question. I actually am a person who has asthma myself. I had exercise-induced asthma as a child. It kind of fizzled out for a while, luckily, and then once I became an adult again, it started to show its ugly face. So I've struggled to breathe for many years, and I've used Lung Association resources to help manage my asthma. Fast forward a little bit, it was about 2018, and a friend of mine asked me about climbing during the Fight for Air climb when it was at Terminal Tower. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have asthma. I can't do this. Are you insane? You know, and she was a little bit older than me, and I'm like, okay, well, if they can do it. But I'm like, I just knew with my breathing that it would be very difficult. So I said no. Fast forward the next year, it was at Key Tower. Why not? Let's go taller, right? So she asked me again. She's like, do you want to do this? It's only like 20 more floors. What's the big deal? And that was the year I said yes. That was 2019. And okay. I climbed Key Tower for the first time. I trained and I worked with my doctor. And so it was like you, it was the Fight for Air climb that got me involved as a participant myself in this amazing event. At the time I was working in health and wellness, and I was, ready for a change, and a job opportunity came along with the American Lung Association. So I then soon after started working there, and it's been quite a journey. I love what I do because I can advocate for the things that not just me needs, but so many that struggles to breathe. And I just love it. And this is my favorite event. And it's our 16th year this year doing this in 2026. Wow. And we're so excited to be back at Key Tower. It's the tallest building in Ohio, the tallest building between Chicago and Philadelphia. So it attracts people from all over the region to climb and see the amazing view from the top.
That's awesome. So 1,268 steps, Right?
Just a few.
So when you did it, did you count each one as you went? Is
Yeah,
it something that
you
you
kind of you do, and then and then after a while you're like, wait, what step am I on? You just keep going, right? So you just be like, where's
yeah,
the top? The first, as I say, like the first 5 floors are fun, and then you start like, wondering your life choices. But then once
right,
you get
right.
toward the top, you go. I've climbed Key Tower many many times now, and it's you still can't help drive downtown and see it and go, I did that. I climbed to the
Yeah,
top of Key
yeah.
Tower. Like it's a really great feeling.
Yeah, I'd have to. I think that, and I haven't done it yet, so I'm really excited to do it this coming year, March 1st to be exact, of
Yes.
2026. Um, and you've described some of it. I've done stuff in Colorado, and of course, you can really experience the lack of breathing with the lack of oxygen in
Oxygen,
Colorado.
yeah.
Um, but there's this false summit with the Manitou incline, and it's about double the
Yes.
amount of steps, but
Yes.
they're varied. So I think it gives a little bit of degree. So I could see that there could be some monotony with this climb. But what's the atmosphere like on climb day? I know you're trying to give me a picture of it, but can you describe?
So the atmosphere on event day is amazing. So we have friends and family teams that come out in support of a loved one. There's corporate teams that come together to take on the challenge of the corporate wellness to get to the top of the tower. And
Okay.
then we also have our firefighter challenge, which brings the fire community, first responders, EMS, veterans, and their loved ones to climb for their cities. And these men and women are climbing in full firefighter turnout gear. So
Mm,
it's an incredible sight to have all these different communities come together. And last year we had over 50 cities represented, over 150 firefighters, and they come together to showcase what they put their lungs through. And we want to bring awareness to firefighter lung health and what they do occupationally, and what they put their lungs through each day.
that's
Um,
awesome. You had
yeah.
also said though that I mean, not mandatory with the firefighter challenge, right? I mean, so people wear different levels of gear and
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay.
So we end the event with our firefighter challenge, which brings firefighters and first responders from around the region to climb either in full gear or just their helmets and air tanks, whichever they like. We want to bring the families together to showcase what they put their lung health through.
That is great. I love that people can take it fast or slow, families, friends, coworkers, and even the full firefighter crews. I know I've been talking to the stations that I visit about it, and
Yeah.
we've had union meetings the last couple days. So I'm working on getting more crews. A lot of them have said that they've participated. So
Yeah, that's
obviously
great.
the community comes together
Yeah.
for this. That's wonderful. Do you have like a favorite memory or most inspiring story from past climbs that you can share?
Oh my goodness. It comes down to the people that come up to me and share their stories with me
Mm,
each event. Um, I always go back to the firefighters because it's so important. I love seeing them come out in droves, with their families, with their children, and showing their kids that they can do this and they can do hard things. And then we give back to them with showcasing lung health awareness for firefighters. So it's everyone's stories that they share with me that's important, that reminds me what I do. And yes, I do this for my own lung health, but I know there are so many people that are worse off than me.
hmm
And it's just so important that we continue to advocate and continue to do these events to bring awareness to lung health and clean air.
So you mentioned the or the kids and the families. Is there an age restriction on actually climbing?
Yeah, anyone 7 or older.
Oh,
And
that's great.
we go up into the 80s too. I have
Yeah,
80-plus-year-olds that climb, so there's no excuse. And
right.
you just take it one step at a time.
Yep, yep. And so, yeah, so I think that that's often a misconception. But it did look like you did have a timing component to it. Is that
Yes,
okay?
on the other side of that, yes, you can race the stairs. We do have
Okay,
a timing company that you can beat your time from last year, or you can take it one step at a time. We have rest
nice.
stops throughout the tower that you can get off the stairway and take a breather, have some water, and
Nice.
relax for a minute. And honestly, the question I always ask is, what if I can't make it to the top? And
Hmm.
99.9% of the time, everyone makes it to the top. But if you should feel you can't, you can just ask a volunteer and we'll escort you back down the elevator toward the bottom. But we want you to try and give it a chance, and just take your time and
Yep.
have fun with it.
There's always an out, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
but at the end of the day, this is about fundraising and about a cause. So, can you share what the fundraising supports? What impacts do those dollars have on lung health and research and clean air initiatives?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is a fundraising event, right? And we have big goals because this year is very different than others in that, we are making sure that we bring all the advocacy we can to to our nation's capital to make sure that lung health is a priority. And every dollar raised, 90 cents of every dollar goes right back into research programs, advocacy, education. We're very,
Nice.
very proud of that. We're a 4-star charity navigator nonprofit. And, we want to make sure that the money that's raised goes directly back into programs and services. We have, so many amazing things that are available for patients. There's our Lung Health Navigators program that you can talk to, other people, and it's a support for patients that have lung disease or lung cancer and their families and their caregivers. There's freedom from smoking programs. There's asthma education. So we have lots of things right here in Northeast Ohio and nationwide that are available to make sure that everyone feels supported when they get a new diagnosis.
That's great. Well, and as I said, what drew me initially when we were talking is the firefighters, and the climb has such strong participation from the firefighters and first responders with good reason. Unhealthy
Yeah.
air is something they face every shift. Can you talk about why this event resonates so deeply with that community?
Every time they go out on a job, they don't know what they're going to be putting their lungs through, and lung cancer is very prevalent in the first responder community. And that's why, they take so many precautions when
Hmm.
they go onto a job to make sure that they protect their airways, but it's not always the case that they can be that safe. So it's just reminding them and bringing awareness to keeping them safe, and then making sure that they continuously, get their lungs scanned when the time is right, paying attention to symptoms, and making sure that they are as proactive as possible to
Definitely.
take care of themselves and their
Yeah.
families.
There comes a moment when doing more isn't the answer. Being more of yourself is. Hi, I'm Jenna Stoliker, a leadership coach who helps you navigate change by coming home to what matters most. If you're standing at a threshold and wondering what's next, let's walk it together. Learn more at jennastoliker.com.
Well, and you mentioned previously the ALA does so much more than just host these events. I mean, which the fundraising is paramount to the
Yeah.
whole project, but it's
Yeah.
about education, advocacy, and research. Can
Yeah.
you share some of the biggest priorities right now for lung health?
Absolutely. The fundraising is imperative, and it helps fund our advocacy and our research and education and the programs that we, have year round. And in right now, our most important work is advocacy. We are fighting for, lung health for everyone, that healthcare is available for everyone, vaccines, and making sure that people stay safe, stay proactive. Lung cancer research is so important. November was Lung Cancer Awareness Month. We want to make sure we bring attention to these topics, and making sure that we're helping people that need it the most, to make sure everyone has fair access to healthcare and to these vaccines, and to the to getting their lungs scanned when they need it. It's
Yeah.
really, really important.
Well, we do talk about lung cancer, and I think that's the first thing that comes to mind. But what are some of the early warning signs of lung disease that people often overlook?
It's kind of scary because a lot of times people don't even realize that they have lung cancer. That's where the scans they accidentally find out because they go in for some other reason and they find something. It could be as simple as a cough. We have a story of one of our Lung Force heroes that, she'll tell her story about she had a chronic cough that wouldn't go away. And one thing led to another, and she found out she had lung cancer. It's not, it's a, it could be a sore throat. It could be anything, but most of the time when it comes to lung disease, you don't even realize it until,
Yeah.
you get scanned and see it for yourself.
Yeah, my stepfather-in-law, besides the firefighters, of course, we all have a personal story, and I know when we've talked before that I mean everybody's been affected, whether it's asthma or somebody they know,
Right.
whether they were a smoker, COPD, whatever. I mean,
Right.
you're affected by it. This touches everybody, but that's what my stepfather-in-law, or whatever. I always say that, and then you're like, okay, how does that connect when there's all this divorce in the
I have a family
whatever?
like that. I get you.
Anyway, not my stepfather-in-law, my
Yeah.
in-law. Anyway, regardless, it was a cough and it was constant, and my husband kept saying, "You need to get that checked. You need to get that checked." By the time all was said and done, it was a month and a half. I
Yeah.
mean, it was so fast by the time we were aware of it. So, we talk about how we can all take small everyday steps or small actions with compounding change, whether it's exercise, air quality awareness. Both you and I are struggling with coughs right now, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
that time of year, but
Yes.
air quality awareness or talking to doctors to compound healthier habits for our lungs. I love the idea that protecting our lungs isn't just a medical issue, it's a lifestyle.
Right.
So what's one small change you'd encourage listeners to make this week?
Ooh, I love that question. Pay attention to your symptoms. If you have a little bit of a cough, if you're noticing something, pay attention to what you're eating. We talk about that nutrition aspect. Dairy is really bad for phlegm and mucus and inflammation. So, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're moving. I mean, we talk about movement and exercise and if you're going to attempt Key Tower, you're definitely going to want to make sure you're moving a little bit leading up to the event too. So you don't have to be, going and doing anything too crazy, but movement is so important and helps, oxygen helps your lungs and helps your keep you healthy.
Right. So if you don't have stairs in your house, go over to a friend's house and start practicing, right?
Yeah, or just go for a walk. Find an incline. We're
Yeah.
in Northeast Ohio. There's plenty of places that you can find, some nice hills to walk up and down, and really start getting outside and enjoying the nice crisp air
Yeah.
And get ready for March.
Yeah, well, and like you said, it's not just about one day, and that's what I love about this event. It's not just the focus on one big day. It's not just about planning. It's about momentum, and that brings me back to the whole fundraising aspect of it. And every donation, every participant, every breath adds up. You often say every dollar and every climber makes a difference. Is there an example that you can share of how that support compounds in the real world of change?
When someone makes the choice to join a freedom from smoking clinic, when they see someone else affected that maybe was a smoker or was not and so it gets lung cancer, when someone is inspired to go get scanned,
Yeah.
that's what drives me, and that's what we're here for, is to make sure that people have the resources and can feel comfortable asking questions of their doctor. And that's what's important, and we want to make sure that that we're there for you when you need it. You may not need us right now, but down the line, if you're taking care of a parent or a child that has asthma or has COPD, or we have a lot of veterans that have affected as well by lung health from their service time. And, we just want to make sure we're there for everyone and when they need us.
Well, and if somebody is not put off, but if they're just really hesitant, or maybe they're having a bad day that day, there's other ways that they can support the cause, even if they can't climb.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah, absolutely. So the climb is for everyone in that you can be a participant. We sign up, climb the stairs, see the view, earn your medal, have a great time. But if you're someone who, I hear it. I've got bad knees. I can't do this. I get it. Come volunteer with us. We can be a cheerleader in the stairwell, or help us logistically on event day. It's a big event. We have over 500 people, 600 people that are there, and we can use the help. So please come out
and you can take the elevator.
Yeah, we'll tell you to take the elevator, right. And come out and volunteer, or you can donate to your city's fire team. I always encourage that. Is if you don't want to climb yourself, please give your best donation to your local town fire station. I promise you they're probably climbing. If not, go talk to them and have them come aboard as well.
Well, and of course, we talk about compounding change here on the podcast, small, consistent actions that create big outcomes. With that said, you can also do monthly donations. So like a $10 monthly donation, correct?
So yes, people can give in many different ways. There are, you can make a monthly donation. You can leave a legacy gift. There are lots of ways, and you can find out more on lungh.org on ways that you can give as well. We're really appreciative.
So we talk about compounding change here on the podcast in small, consistent actions that create big outcomes. So the American Lung Association embodies that by taking on these events and creating it into a bigger thing that helps other people with their lung health. Yeah. How can somebody as an individual do their part, or I just feel like people are always looking for that big thing, and I want to focus on those small actions that they take. I like that you mentioned about the smoking clinics and stuff. What would you encourage people to do to take those small actions and create a bigger result?
Oh, such a great question. It really comes down to what you're comfortable with, whether it's getting involved. There's nothing better than being a volunteer and being a part of something bigger, and taking that small step by saying, yes, I'm going to come volunteer for the Fight for Air climb. Or it's making your best donation, or it's, if you hear a friend or neighbor that you maybe hear them coughing, and, allowing them giving them the resource of lungh.org to say, hey, maybe there's something here that can help you. Just taking care of each other, as the weather's colder now, and, watching over each other, and just making sure we're all breathing a little better. Whatever that looks like, indoor air quality, making sure your house is clean this time of year, and, you're not breathing in too much dust and dog fur in my case,
Oh my goodness, yes.
Right. And just taking care of each other.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Again, it's those small things that add up, and it's awareness from other people. And that whole thing about the cough is big. Yeah. You just don't realize the little things that those signs that you may have early on. And if you ignore those, how impactful that can be. Good or bad, right?
And it's always like, you're always like, why am I still coughing? Or, a lot of people ended up with like long COVID and things, and just understanding what's your normal and what maybe isn't. And looking at all the factors around you, what's your stress level? Are you drinking enough water? What are you eating? It's really just kind of paying attention to everything. And then, just trying to fix your lifestyle to make sure it's as healthy as possible. Your air quality is good. And
well, I know that the climb is something that I've looked at for years, and I'm really looking forward to participating this year.
We're so happy to have you.
Yeah,
you're going to love it. I mean,
it's,
from a fitness standpoint, it's such a fun challenge. And then also like I said, the big thing is with the climb, as you're going up those stairs and you take it each floor, you start to feel that burn.
Yeah.
They call it like a climber's cough. You might start to cough a little. It's all temporary, but
Right.
you feel what it feels like to have lung disease, and it's really impactful to go, oh, that doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only temporary, and then
Right.
you get to the top and you'll be fine.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, again, Catherine, thank you so much for joining me today and
Thank you
for
for having me.
all that you do with the American Lung Association and you're doing to help people breathe easier. I hope that you have easier breathing. So,
Yeah, and it's we do this for all of us, so we all deserve clean air and healthy lungs, and so we take it one step at a time.
yep.
And we're here.
And March 1st, 2026.
March 1st, 2026,
Yeah.
Key Tower. You can go to climbcleveland.org to register, and you can start your team or contact me if you have any questions.
Great, great. So for everyone listening, you can find those links in the show notes to register, donate, volunteer for the Fight for Air Climb in Cleveland. Whether you're taking the stairs at Key Tower or just making one small change for your own health, it all compounds over time. I'm Shannon Davis, and this is Compounding Change. Until next time.
This has been the Compounding Change Podcast with Shannon Davis. If you are a firefighter or first responder, you know that change happens fast. Life changes, finance changes, compounding change. Shannon Davis is a certified retirement counselor who understands the needs of Ohio Association of Professional Firefighters members. Click on daviscompoundingchange.com to learn more. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Retirement Plan Advisors LLC, a federally registered investment advisor. Cambridge Investment Research and Retirement Planning Advisors are not related to daviscompoundingchange.com or this podcast. Please note that investment involves risk and no statements made in this recording are indicative of future performance. The Compounding Change Podcast is brought to you by Shannon Davis.